We just not dancing today, Sam?
Sorry, I was locked in. A lot to talk about. We're back. We're up in the double digits. We hit the 10 mark. Next milestone is 100. And by my mark, we should probably reach that in like 2 years. So we're in for the long haul. We're in for the long haul. Yeah. Well, we're doing two a week in the regular season.
We are going to be doing 2 a week.
Yeah. True, yeah, it'll probably be about a year or so from now. Yeah. 50 weeks. So, hold on, 90, 45. We'll figure it out.
We'll get there.
We're there. But yeah, we got some interesting stuff broke down across the league past week or so. But the main focus is the episode. We're going to give our 2023 preview of the top 3 players at every position across the entire league. We're not going American National. It's straight up. I think I personally want to open up the pod, just say that Liam Hendriks is in our thoughts. It just broke that he's been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's tough to see a good guy like that, just a real baseball guy. It's tough for anybody, but for the game, it's tough to see a guy like him get hit with it. So,
dude's a fucking competitor too. So
yeah. Oh, he's gonna kick the shit out of it.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna kick the shit out of it, and I look forward to seeing him come back and just fucking.
This dude's gonna be sitting in his hospital room, just screaming at the top of his lungs,
just watching the White Sox closers blow games. Going, no, damn it. But yeah. But anyways, yeah, our thoughts are with Liam Hendriks and his friends and family, everybody close to him. He's going to kick that shit's ass, and can't wait to see him get back on the bump and pump some cheddar.
Be the psycho that he is.
Yeah, pump some cheddar. Yeah, I guess we can kind of run down a couple things that happened across the league since the last week. Nothing too crazy except for the fucking Boston Red Sox. Heimblum has a fucking pulse. My God, Rafi Devers, 11 years, $332 million. We have our organizational pillar, and we didn't fucking let him go, and I'm so goddamn happy.
It's let's just not let this mask the fact that we let Xander walk, we let Mookie go,
I'm going to preface that but you say that, but here's the thing, right? If the money that Xander got is what he demanded and what he wanted, I am more than happy to let him go and pay Devers what we paid him, considering he's younger. We don't have a prime third base prospect coming up behind him. Meanwhile, in 2 years, you're going to have Marcelo Meyer up the middle, and then you can either slide Story over because we got him for another 4 years. So the middle infield has a lot more dynamic moving pieces where they don't have a lot going on behind Devers coming up to the minors. So hindsight, the deal I like it a lot, to be honest.
Well, it felt like the whole conversation going into the offseason this year was, if you sign Bogaerts, but that means you can't re-sign Devers, would you do it? Like, that seemed to be a big conversation.
That's a shit ton of money. Outside the Mets, there's not any teams that really have multiple $300 million players.
Cohen's just in his bag. He doesn't give a fuck.
He's still trying to pay Correa.
And we know that's probably going to come back and bite him in the ass because the Mets are still going to the Mets probably aren't going to win a World Series. So, power to them if they do, but I
just don't want to see this Red Sox shit get fucked up because I know there's been rumblings of possibly moving Castis around.
Right.
And I
just don't want to see that happen. Don't make a good thing and then make an equally bad thing by moving him.
I can't go back to Bobby Dahlbeck at first base, dude. I just can't put myself through that kind of pain
I think if they trade him, to me, I'd rather put Christian Arroyo first over Dahlbeck.
Bring Franchy back. Literally anybody except Bobby Dahlbeck.
Can't bring Franchy back. He's with Baltimore. The Orioles now.
No, right. Forgot.
Yeah, so he's in Baltimore, but...
Well, bring him back anyway. Fuck it.
I think the only way to trade Cassis is if you can get Pablo Lopez and Jazz Chisholm. I feel like if you get 2 of their prime pieces, that's the only way it'll get done. And if you don't get both of those, or at least Jazz and one of their other aces, like even Trevor Rogers is pretty good. Or really,
who's that lefty they have?
Luzardo. Luzardo.
They have another one, a younger guy.
Max Meyer.
Nope.
Prospect.
I can't. I gotta look
Trevor
it up.
Rogers.
I'll think of it.
Trevor Rogers? No?
Nope.
Yeah, that's been hot and heavy as the Sox Marlins trying to make a deal, and Cassis has been the biggest, kind of the cornerstone.
Braxton Garrett, that's who it is.
Braxton Garrett, that's right.
Well, it was Cassis, and then I read something that said they're not moving Cassis, but they're looking at moving I don't know how to say his name.
Oh,
not Ref Snyder.
Rafa
No,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Moving him, but for him, they would get they wouldn't get Jazz.
No,
moving him.
Honestly, I would love even if it was Jazz and Max Meyer or Meyer, however the hell you say his name. It's that I think that's one of their top prospects. He's the top pitching prospect, I think. I think it's if you get enough prospects, I think you can deal with with Cassis. You know what I mean?
My only issue.
I don't think he's not on the block.
Send over like a Brian Anderson as a temporary replacement.
Yeah.
The only issue with trading for Jazz is now you're back at square one with Marcelo Mayer. Jazz's middle infielder, you have him and Story. You're gonna have to move one of them again.
Jazz is easy to move after that, and he's still under arbitration, so he's not getting a lot. Honestly, I could see Jazz turning into a corner outfield player later in his career, just with how fast he is, and he's got a decent arm. I could see him totally being a corner, really like a left fielder. I could see that.
I would love to see someone with his personality in Fenway.
We have not had. That'd be awesome.
Who's the last firecracker guy we've had?
I also think that he would.
Manny Ramirez.
I think he fits really well with the locker room too. To be honest, I think because he seems like a gamer too. He just seems like a dude that wants to win. He literally had that tweet so I guess he grew up in Atlanta, and he had a tweet where he said someone asked him if he'd be willing to go to Atlanta. He said if it means I'm going to win a championship, I'll go there for. What do you say? Like 10 years, 50 million or something like that. He's literally just like, I don't care about the money. I just want to win. Like that says a lot about a player.
Yep.
So
I mean, if you win enough, your money's going to add up anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
From everything else.
But I wouldn't hate the imagine a Jazz Chisholm, Trevor Story middle infield. Literally just, I'd cry. But anyway, I'm much more comfortable with how the Red Sox postseason went now because like I said before. Did I say postseason? Off season?
We're in the postseason already? What the hell happened?
It's the post of the postseason.
We wouldn't. Whoa!
The post of the postseason. Now, I think I'm much more comfortable with the off season now that they got that deal done because I think that changes the entire culture of the locker room. Like immediately, shows that there's some commitment to winning in the long term. Because if there's not, but if there's no commitment to it, you don't sign a guy to a long term deal for $30 million a year.
It shows they're at least planning for the future.
That's what I mean.
Not doing
it shows that they're building.
Yeah,
that they want a guy because you pay one guy that money shows that he's the guy and you're going to build around him. Otherwise, why would you pay somebody that much money for that long?
Right.
Exactly. So, to appease the fan base.
So that other than that, I think. No updates really on Correa. Last I heard about Correa was that that basically they haven't been at a worse spot in negotiations than they are like right now. Like I guess really breaking down.
Only thing I've really seen on Correa is Carabas is being a real dick online about him coming to the Red Sox now.
I
don't want it.
Don't want it.
Don't want it.
No.
Unless we can get him for like 1 year, $5 million. Don't want it.
Yeah. Give me chump change. League minimum. Take him for league minimum. Give him $750K.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I don't want him anywhere. And that's unfortunately, he's that kind of player now that most organizations don't want to be involved with him.
Nope.
Because his reputation precedes himself.
He screwed himself way over.
Well, and just the way he kind of handled the Twins thing in a pretty weird way. With the Astros thing, he was one of the only guys who has no apologies about it. Kind of just
moved on. Just like no.
Yeah, that guy can eat rocks.
Not even kick them, just eat them.
Nah, he can just eat them.
Wow,
that's what I think of that guy.
Well, in that case, but yeah, I think that not really a hell of a lot.
Yeah, there wasn't really a lot that happened.
No, nothing really.
When do Hall of Fame ballots go in? It's pretty soon, right?
I think next weekend. I want to say it's soon.
Maybe next week we'll do a little Hall of Fame deep dive, guys. Maybe we'll send out a little. We'll fill out our own ballots.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot more World Baseball Classic content coming too.
Yeah, the next couple of weeks probably once rosters start filling out.
Yeah.
And then they start posting up all the groups and everything. Have they posted? They have groups already, right, Cam?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have. It's not due till January 24th.
Okay, but still, we could maybe do that next week. I also like to give a little shout out to Cam for having his finger on the pulse with Carlos Baerga, because we knew about that Rafi Devers deal like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours before it broke with Bob Nightingale and Heyman. Like,
fuck Boob Newton Good.
We were happy.
You were all over that one, so I'll give
we
you
were all
props
fat and happy with that one. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, please be true.
Well, and Carlos Baerga, he's one of Alex Cora's best friends.
Yeah.
I guess Carabas was saying that I guess they go live on Instagram together all the time.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty steep claim to make if it's not true, considering how close he is to Alex Cora. So
so the thing that made it sketchy with him was he had posted. He was one of the guys saying Bogaerts is close to return to Boston.
That's
so
true.
I do wonder how much of a last minute thing that Padres deal was.
I mean, but at the same time, you do also need to believe that we were close to a deal with Bogaerts, and then things just
I think towards the end when he signed with the Padres, I don't think they were miles apart.
No.
I think it just came down to the Padres overpaying for him and the Red Sox not wanting to overpay.
Yeah.
I mean, I could also see Xander being cautious with the whole thing too. Like, are they going to let Rafi walk? Am I going to be stuck here by myself? Like, what are they going to build?
Well, and that,
what are they going to build with me?
And that's why I like the Devers deal more than the Bogaerts deal, because they signed Bogaerts 11 years for 300. It's 300 even, right? I think.
Let's see.
But basically, he signed through his age 41 season, right?
Yeah, 41. I know it was 41.
So it's through 41 season. Devers is only signed through his age 37 season.
He got 11 for 280.
280. That's right. So not 300, but so 11 330, and for Rafi's production and how much better he's gotten on defense and how much younger he is, you pay him that money.
Yep.
And it's not an egregious contract because you're getting him through all of his prime years. His entire prime is that decade plus that you have him. That is his prime. Mm-hmm. Where Bogaerts, the back half of that contract is going to be out of his prime, most likely. Yeah. So the more I think about it, part of me thinks that they didn't really dig their heels in to go after Bogaerts because this was the plan all along. And now that I'm seeing it kind of come together, it makes sense. I can't really argue with it.
I don't know. If we signed Bogaerts to something crazy like 11-280 like the Padres gave him, and they'd come around and tell us, well, we can't sign Devers now, I would have been even more pissed.
Yeah, because you're signing a dude to be freaking 41 years old. He's probably not even going to play the last 3-4 years of that contract.
Nope.
They're going to be paying somebody to sit on their couch at home. So,
well, it would be another Ellsbury or Pedroia is obviously a little different. He got hurt, but Ellsbury, look at Ellsbury.
Chris Davis with the Orioles.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to get a move on this?
Yeah, so we're going to dive in top three players each position. We're going to do starters, relievers, closing pitchers.
I feel like all of us are going to have some drastically different takes on this.
Which is fine. Yeah. I think that's the best part about it. So then the 8 fielding positions, and we did DHs as well. So I'm just going to jump into pitchers. Do we want to do our number 1 go around, number 2 go around, 3 go around?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So I guess I'll start. My number 1 is Sandy Alcantara.
Okay. Are we giving any context, or are we just going to...
we'll just, I guess we could just do our 1, 2, 3. Want us to do it that way? Make it easier.
Sure.
Makes it easier for context sake, I think.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So my 1, 2, 3 are Sandy Alcantara, Justin Verlander, Corbin Burns.
Okay. You have the exact same thing?
I have the exact same thing.
I mean, it's, yeah.
All right, well, I went with a completely different take. So my 1, and I'm basing this off of guys being totally healthy. So let me just preface by saying that. Yeah, so I have DeGrom at 1, I have JV at 2, and I have Alcantara at 3.
That's not insane. I think, to me, why I had Sandy number 1, dude's a horse. The amount of innings that he's thrown the last couple of years is I think he's
thrown 228 innings this year.
Well, I think if you combine the last 2 innings, he's pitched 80 more innings than the next
last 2 innings. He's pitched 80
years. Last 2 years.
It's been a long day. But the last 2 years, I think he's pitched almost 80 innings more than the next closest guy.
He also had 6 complete games this year, which is
it's what I mean.
Absurd.
In this era of baseball, does not happen.
dominant side.
And it just seems like Justin Verlander, he's hit a renaissance in his career. He's just
which is so insane, dude. Like, how?
I mean, to me, it's insane, but you also look at it and it's not that crazy because, like, I mean, I hate to take it outside of baseball, but like Tom Brady, like guys have just gotten better at taking care of their bodies later in life, and I think that has to do with sports science evolving, nutrition evolving, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like baseball's a totally different breed too, especially coming off of 2 Tommy John surgeries, and you're going to go out there and do the type of shit that he's doing.
Some people would say that's an
you do come back stronger,
that's an
right?
A
lot of guys do come back stronger.
He's basically got a robotic arm at this point,
right?
So
Verlander too. We will see how much of it was the Houston Astros training program, how much of it was him going to the Mets.
Yeah.
Now.
I think he's still going to.
I think he's just a machine and just an animal.
Yeah, and I think you put him and Scherzer on the same staff. They're both kind of just baseball nerds. They're going to bounce off each other just like they did in Detroit. I think that's a recipe for success. Having those two guys in the same rotation is pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
And then, I had DeGrom at 1, but assuming he's fully healthy, he only has 38 starts over the last 3 years. But assuming he's fully healthy, the dude's just a fucking beast.
I mean, when he's healthy, he's a top 5 pitcher all time.
Yep.
Like, and I don't think a lot of people would argue against that. He is, based on stuff that we've seen, that we have modern metrics to look at, he has the best stuff ever.
Yep.
So, but that's the thing. I left him out of it just because it's an if. Like, he's almost like an outside looking in for me, where I wouldn't even rank him at this point. Like, he's just kind of like on the bubble of, if he's healthy, he's top 3 guy all day. But if he's not healthy, he's just a non-factor. So it's kind of a toss up.
I just want to see him go to Texas and absolutely annihilate everybody in his path.
I would love to see them just all of a sudden that rotation just comes out of nowhere and just shoves and makes a playoff run next year. That'd be exciting. I think
a decent rotation around him, so it's really not just him anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you got Evaldi, Martin Perez.
You got Evaldi now. Yep.
Perez, John Gray,
especially if Martin Perez comes back and does what he did last year too.
Yeah, I think that's probably on paper one of the best rotations of baseball.
Oh yeah,
top 3 at least. So I want to move on to relievers. I feel like this one could be all over the place.
I didn't really know which way to go with this one, so I was just.
You can go first if you want.
Throwing shit down. So number 1, I had Anthony Bass.
Number 1?
I had Anthony Bass for reliever. This isn't basing it. Closers not involved. So I had Bass at 1. So dude's an absolute stallion. 1.54 ERA out of the pen. He had 3 blown saves, but I mean, he's a guy who's not used to pitching in that role, and that shit's gonna happen.
Also, if you're pitching a ton of innings, that's just
right.
It's inevitable.
2 was a guy that flew under the radar that I didn't really know about until about halfway through this past season was Evan Phillips of the Dodgers.
Yes.
So he was also a stallion. And then this third one, I had Cionel Perez of the Orioles.
Yep.
So
the Orioles have low-key like a bundle of dudes that you could throw in the top.
He just didn't get a lot of innings. Being a lefty too, like it's tougher to kind of deploy those guys in those situations now, but the game's changing still.
Right.
So, I mean, 57 innings, a 7-1 record, and a 1.40 ERA on the Orioles.
Yep.
So, those are my 3.
You can take it if you want, Cam.
So I had number 1. I had Clay Holmes for the Yankees.
Yep, that's a decent show.
But I wasn't sure. Did he? I don't know if he closed last year. If he closed, I fucked up. But Daniel Bard. Did he?
Yeah, he was a closer for the Rockies, but also it's hard to say he was a closer when you're pitching for a team that doesn't win a lot of games. So you're just a reliever at that point. You're a reliever that comes into the 9th a lot. So
and this was a guy who, Daniel Bard. I struggle with him. I couldn't figure out if he was a closer or not, but that makes sense. And then Scott Barlow for Kansas City. I think that's just gonna be good pitcher, bad team.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I basically just looked at it. Any guy that had below 20 saves, I just considered them a reliever.
Okay. Actually, yep.
So, but that's why I said to Chris, I was like, there's literally 25 guys that could be in the top 3.
Yeah.
So my top 3 were Devin Williams with the Brewers. Only had I think 17 saves last year. So because most of the year he's pitching behind Josh Hader, but probably the best setup man in the league. Very good. I don't remember. Let me check it. His ERA last year was pretty good, if I remember correctly. So yeah, Devin Williams, number 2, Rizal Iglesias, who made a move to the Braves. Was that halfway through last year or so? So Devin Williams 1.93 ERA last year, pretty good. So Devin Williams 1, Rizal 2, and then number 3, another Oriole, Felix Bautista. Well, he was very good.
I almost put him down as well.
Yeah, that dude. You could contribute a lot of their success down the stretch to him and Perez. I think they were basically nails out of the bullpen because they didn't have an electrifying offense. It was their bullpen is what made them that good last year.
Yeah,
and it's very clear. You can see that right on paper. So, yeah, those are my 3 there.
I feel like our closers are going to be 1 and 2 are going to be the same, and then the third might be a little all over the place.
Yeah, either one of you guys can take it.
I'll take it. I had number 1. I had Edwin Diaz.
Yep.
2, Emmanuel Clase.
Yep.
And 3, I have Gregory Soto.
Nope.
No, my 3 was Josh Hader.
My 3 was Daniel Bard.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
He was money.
Dude had 34 saves for a team that only won 68 games.
That's 50% of their games.
Yeah. So
yeah, he was very good.
Nails.
Yeah. But you want to talk about a dude coming out of left field to absolutely revive his career.
Well, I think he was out of baseball, right?
For 2 years,
he was completely out of baseball.
Yeah. Like, you want to talk about making a comeback and hitting the ground running.
Won a World Series with the Red Sox, though.
Yeah.
He did.
That's he was the bright spot of the entire Rocky season. Daniel Bard's coming in nowhere, being an absolute stud. All-star, I think, right? Is he an all-star? I think he was, right?
I can look.
Probably. How can you not be?
I mean, on that team, too, where every team needs a representative now.
I mean, who else are you going to send? Connor Joe?
Listen, he doesn't even play for them anymore.
Who'd he go to?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, right. Womp.
He wasn't an all-star this year. Interesting.
Tough. Maybe he had a strong second half. I don't know.
1.79 ERA. I mean, that's fucking nails. That's. I think Edwin Diaz and Clase, I think, are 1 and 2. Like unequivocally, those guys are just lights out. Manuel Clase throwing 102 mile an hour cutters.
Just disgusting.
Yeah,
bro,
unhittable.
Edwin Diaz. Did you guys look and see what his Ks per 9 were?
Is it like 17 or something?
Yeah, it was over 17.
Really? Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, dude!
The reason
chill out.
Paid.
Yeah. I mean,
you think he comes back with the trumpets next year? I feel like
he have to.
Yeah.
Ride that out until you suck.
Tommy Trumpets.
Yep.
I think he's the best. And actually, like if you went further, like 4, 5, 6, I think Kenley Jansen probably fits in like 5 or 6.
I was gonna say 6.
Closers
probably.
in baseball. Yeah, he's kind of under the. Dude had 44 saves last year? 43 saves.
I have it open. Hang on.
That's nothing to scoff at, right there.
41.
Yeah.
Clase had 42. He had the most.
Yeah.
Kenley Jansen had the second most.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the thing people always just Kenley Jansen is a victim of that that phenomena where people have one bad moment and then it just like, and then every time after that they have a bad moment, that's the only thing that sticks in their brain about the guy.
Right.
Because he's given up some pretty bad walk-offs.
So is Aroldis Chapman. Fuck that guy.
So in the top 10, there are 3 pitchers who have, or 3 closers who have an ERA above 3.
Really?
He's one of them, and he had the second most saves last year.
Yeah.
So he saved some games. They were fucking scary.
See, that's the interesting thing, right? So if you have an ERA that high, theoretically, aren't you creating save situations for yourself then?
Yep.
You're probably coming into a game that's 4-0. You give up a run, get a guy on base, and all of a sudden it's a save situation.
So essentially, you remember how Kimbrel was at the end of 2018?
Oh, no, that's why
we're going to get all year.
That's why they brought Chris Sale in to close up the World Series. They didn't want to risk their 5-run lead or whatever the hell it was.
Not doing that.
So backstops, and I think I would assume all of our number 1s are probably the same, but maybe not. Could be, maybe not. I'll run down my top 3.
All right, go.
So I got JT.
Okay.
Yeah.
JT's my 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, I got Alejandro Kirk.
Yeah.
And then 3, Contreras.
Okay.
But yeah, I think JT and Alejandro are kind of in a league of their own because they're both very good defensive catchers, but also offensively are above average. So,
yeah, when you get catchers hitting above 260 and 17 plus home runs and
driving in 50, 60 runs,
knocking in runs, when you can get that out of a catcher that's only playing.
Well, didn't Kirk hit 300?
Nah, he hit 284.
Oh yeah, he was hitting at 300 at one point. But getting a catcher that's hitting 284, that's
yeah. When you can get that, when you can get that kind of production out of a catcher, especially at a position that's so thin.
Yeah, exactly.
You're taking that every day of the week. And Alejandro actually walked more than he struck out this year, which was
wow. That's
kind of.
Do you hear the story of how he got drafted or
No.
international signing? There's an so there's a Blue Jays international scout that went to a Mexican League game to see a completely different player, and just saw Alejandro Kirk.
See?
Didn't sign the other guy. Signed Alejandro.
That's the
Kirk
way it
on
goes
the spot.
sometimes. You never even know who's going to be there.
Yeah, you just got to ball out. You just got to ball out always.
I had a Real Muto 1, Kirk 2. My 3, I had Salvi.
Okay.
Guy hits 31 tanks. He only walked 22 times, which was like, how do you only walk 22 times in a 162 game season?
Probably 600 at bats.
Yeah, but Salvi's one of the game's elite, and again, at a position that's super thin, you're taking Salvi guaranteed top 5. But I have him top 3.
So to be honest, when I started this list, I had him at number 1.
Yeah,
he was my number 1, and then I started thinning it out. I probably have him at 4 or 5. I think Darno is fairly high up there. Also, he kind of had a down year offensively, but when he's in his best form, that dude can rake. But yeah, I think JT Kirk, I think, are hard to move from 1
Cam,
and 2.
who you got at 3?
I had JT Kirk, and then I had Rutschman. I feel like he's going to go off this year.
I don't hate that. Yeah, no,
that's a full season under his belt.
You could I guarantee there's some people that argue Adley Rutschman's the best catcher in baseball. To be honest with you, I would say JT's better, but you could put him in that conversation. Absolutely,
I would not be surprised to see Adley take the league by storm this year.
Yeah. I mean, he was rookie of the year last year if Leo Rodriguez didn't exist. So.
Yeah. Yep.
Tough.
Big tough.
But I mean, he's a house. He's basically switch hitting Joe Mauer,
right?
With more power.
Yeah,
dude's got pop. So he's one of the prospects. I'm so excited to see how his career develops because he has the kind of build and the potential to be like you could be looking at a Hall of Famer just starting his career right now. So
yeah,
I feel like there's quite a few of those coming up now.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of the young guys are coming out.
Oh, there's so many good prospects. It's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes baseball more and more exciting.
Yep.
Every time that calendar flips over, just see newer guys coming up. Like there's some legit dudes that are set. Like Grayson Rodriguez, I think is expected to maybe be on the opening day roster for Baltimore. And like that's a dude who you give him 3-4 starts, he's lights out. That's your ace right away.
Mm-hmm.
So the Orioles are going to be terrifying in like 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, can we leave the AL East? Is that possible?
Right. I'd rather take our chances in the NL East, honestly.
Can we just go to like the Central or something where things aren't so good?
Our coastal Boston roots, like let's find a way. So first base. This one, there are a lot of options. To me,
I had a hot take for 3, so I'm curious to see what you guys have for.
I feel like
mine aren't that
generic.
hot, to be honest.
Yeah,
my 1 and 2 aren't hot, but my 3's kind of hot.
I think I went 3 for generic.
So I got number 1. I got Goldie, Paul Goldschmidt.
Okay.
Number 2, Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
And number 3, I had Polar Bear Pete Alonso.
Okay. Cam, go ahead.
Number 1, I had Vladdy.
After the year
2,
you
I
just
had
had,
Freddie.
I think we're a bounce
3,
back
I
here.
had Goldie.
You didn't even have Goldie top 2?
No, I have Goldie 3.
Bro just won an MVP.
He's fucking. What is he? 35.
To be fair, Freddie had an insane year. To be fair, but Goldie to me is still number 1.
Yeah. So I had Goldie. I had Freddie at 2. Number 3, and I broke it down looking at the stats.
Yep.
I had Nathaniel Lau of the Texas Rangers.
He had a good year.
Okay.
He did have a good year.
Dude hit over 300, 27 dongs, struck out a shit ton, struck out 147 times.
That's the thing now. That's baseball, though. Now.
Yeah. He also only had 76 RBIs, but I'm attributing that to a shitty Texas Rangers team at the
got
time.
guys on base for you.
Yeah,
Exactly. Guys aren't setting the table for you. But if you 27 dongs and over a 300 batting average, sign me the fuck up.
That's kind of nuts, though, that he struck out that much. Is
And
a
still hit
power
over
hitter
300?
and hit over 300. So he must.
Crazy.
Do they? I mean, this is weird, but do they have is BABIP a stat for hitters? A stat for hitters also? I wonder because he must have a really high BABIP. Because if he hits a ball in play, he's getting hit, he's getting knocks.
Yeah.
But if he's getting out, he's getting.
Let
run.
me look. Let me see if I can.
That's
that's
interesting.
got to be a stat somewhere.
I would think. You just don't think of it normally, you know. Traditionally, BABIP is a pitching metric.
I don't think it is one.
Oh
yeah, it is.
There is a BABIP, yeah.
Yeah, his BABIP this past year was 363.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty fucking good.
Just put the bat on the ball, Nate.
Hey.
We're in good. We're in business.
That just shows you it's a guy who hits the ball hard and hits the ball to authority. Hits the ball with authority, gap to gap. It just shows you that he's.
Yeah. It was hard to go away from.
Hitter?
No, he's a lefty.
No, sorry, their catcher, Jonah Heim. He's a switch hitter.
It was hard to go away from like the Abreu, Vladdy, Alonso. It was hard to go away from those guys just given their pedigree, but I was like, his stats.
No, that's a good show. I think
Unreal.
he's easy. I think it'd be hard to find a list where he's not top 5 or 6.
Yeah,
for sure. But in my mind, Goldie and Freddie are the gold standard right now.
I was surprised to see Freddie only hit 21 dongs this year.
Yeah, but I think he had almost 200 hits, didn't he? Yeah, I mean,
he hit
he just
325.
got on. I think it also like I'm wondering if because there's a lot more power bats protecting him in that lineup than there were in Atlanta. I wonder if he changed his approach a little bit.
Probably.
And he's just trying to hit line drives, hit gap to gap because it's working. Because I think at one point, at one point early in the year, I think he basically had the Triple Crown. Thinking like May or something like that. So I think his power numbers fell off a bit, but he had a dominant year.
Yep. Second baseman?
This one was kind of tough.
Yeah, I agree.
Not a lot of top-notch players.
No,
I'm still my number 3. I have one player / another player because I couldn't decide.
Yeah.
So I'll let you guys go first, and then I'll throw those out there and see if we can decide him on my list who's 3.
Yeah. So 1, I had Jeff McNeil. Offensively, I mean, he's not the best, but
won a batting title.
Dude, yeah, he hit 326, but I'm saying he's not one of those guys that's knocking in 100 runs and blowing it out 20 times throughout the season. Yeah. But he's setting the tables for fucking what's his face, Polar Bear Pete, and fucking
with his giant ass like maple knob bat. The knob on his bat is like a freaking
like
baseball.
Joey Gallows too.
It's absurd. It's so weird.
2, I had Andres Jimenez of Cleveland, 17 dongs, hit just south of 300. Fun fact: he got hit by a pitch 25 times this year.
That's a lot.
That is quite a lot of times.
Pretty close.
Speaking of hit by pitch, I just saw a stat. You guys remember Ruben Sierra?
Yep.
Dude went 6 full seasons without getting hit by a pitch at one point.
Good for that guy. Good for that guy.
Yeah.
Jimenez also stole 20 bags, so that dude's just doing it all. And at 3, I don't want to fucking talk about it. I didn't have anybody else to put there. I put fucking bitch boy Jose Altuve.
So mine, I have one guy. One is the same as yours. So, but I'll let you go, Cam, because mine I think is kind of weird.
So I have Simeon as 1. Ozzy Albies, I feel like he's gonna have a bounce back. I know he got hurt last year.
Yeah, he got hurt a couple times.
Yeah, I feel like he'll have a bounce back year for this year. And then 3, I also had bitch boy Altuve.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
So I had bitch boy Altuve 1.
I mean, I respect it. I'm just like, I don't like Altuve, so fuck him.
I don't either, but he's. I mean, his numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah, he's just insane.
So Altuve 1, I had Simeon at 2. And Simeon, I think, had a slightly down year offensively, but the entire Texas Rangers had a down year offensively. So,
that whole team.
Yeah. And then number 3, I was at a toss-up between Tommy Edman and Ozzy Albies. I'm kind of leaning towards Ozzy because I know that his capabilities, and I know if he has a bounce back year, he's going to be an all-star.
No respect for my boy Andres from either of you, huh?
He's a guy. He's probably like 4 or 5 for me.
Yeah.
But he's there. He's there. Same with Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil, I had at 2 or 3 at one point in this list, and then I bounced him, but mainly just because he has zero power production at all.
Right.
And that was and he's okay defensively. So all around, there's just, to me, there's better guys, but he's still in a position where you're not a ton of offensive output anyways. He's up there. Want to get right into third base?
Sure. Kick it off. Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. Number 1, I had Nolan Arenado. 2, Jose Ramirez. And number 3, I wanted to put Rafi Devers, but I put Manny Machado. Yeah. I think Devers is probably 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But probably by the end of next year, he'll be a top 3 guy.
Yep.
It would not be surprising. He could even have a better year than all 3 of these guys, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
1, I also had Nolan. 2, I had Rafi. I put Rafi at 2. And then 3, I put Jose. So I wrote on here, I had a toss-up between Manny Machado and Jose for 3.
Yep.
And I ended up going Jose. He had a little bit less of a power output home run-wise, but dude had 126 RBIs and 20 stolen bases.
Yeah, he had an MVP caliber season, to be honest. I think he finished, 4th in voting, 5th in voting?
Yeah, he was up there.
I think he finished because I think it was Judge 1, Shohei 2, Yordan 3.
Yeah.
Then I think J-Ram was either 4 or 5.
I think he was 4. I think when I saw that, I thought I saw 4 on Baseball Reference.
Yeah.
So I had pretty much the same thing as Chris. Arenado 1, but I had Devers at 2, and then Machado at 3.
Yeah, I think
like I
said,
again,
Devers
you can
there's
right.
so
I
many.
feel like Arenado's the runaway one, but
2,
3, 4, you can go any which way about it.
Yeah, you could even probably go up to like 7 or 8, and all of the guys from 2 through 8 could be anywhere around there, just depending on their team's season, like a million different conditions. But it's
right.
That's yep.
And as I was looking, I was thinking about this. Where would you guys put Bobby Witt for the Royals?
Probably
on your list right now,
7 or 8.
Yeah,
probably. He's still pretty raw. I think,
I mean,
like guys I put before him. Well, he's mainly played shortstop this year, right? Because Mondesi was hurt.
This past year he did.
Yeah, so I wonder if next. Well, is Mondesi even going to be ready for the start of the year? Because he tore his ACL, right?
If he tore his ACL, then he won't be.
No idea.
I have no clue.
Yeah, so I was projecting Bobby Witt, looking at it as a shortstop, but
okay.
I mean as a shortstop, but that is a good point that he is a natural third baseman. Started the year last year at third base. Mm-hmm. He's actually probably higher up on the list of third basemen than he is shortstops. Third baseman, I mean, it's after you get past Arenado, J-Ram, Machado, and Rafi, there's really not a lot. Like you're not going to throw Josh Donaldson up there.
Why not?
Maybe
you could if you want to. Yeah, he tore his ACL on Mondesi. Tore his ACL in April of last year. So that'd be a rush.
He could be ready.
Even like maybe May,
close,
by May, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it'd be close, but yeah. So I'm looking at Fantasy Pros right now for 2023.
Yeah.
Fantasy rankings for third baseman.
Yep.
They have Bobby Witt at 2.
Really?
Wow.
They don't even have. They have Arenado down at 6.
For just third baseman or
just third baseman?
Well, I feel like a big aspect of Arenado's game is how good he is defensively too.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I feel like he probably is due for some regression.
Yeah, was like 32, 33, I think.
We'll just go. Let's go. I'll run down real quick top 10 third basemen according to this website, which I don't know how accurate it would be, but J-Ram 1, Bobby Witt 2, Machado 3, Rafi 4, Austin Riley 5, Arenado 6, Bregman 7. They have Wander Franco listed as a third baseman, but that could obviously change.
I feel like he mainly plays short
8,
for them.
Yeah, but they have Taylor Walls coming up too, so they might try and move him around, and Yandy Diaz moved over to first. You have Chris Bryant 9 and Gunnar Henderson at 10. So
forgot they moved Gunnar to third. That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bobby Witt is a guy who could have a crazy breakout year too. Like,
I'm gonna have to start doing my research for this fantasy season.
Almost like Julio did last year, could be a breakout and just show up on the scene,
busting onto the scene.
Yeah, he's a problem.
Different breed.
Yep. Shortstop, probably one of the deeper positions.
Yeah.
This
could go a lot of ways, I feel like.
I was going to say number one is a given, but it's not.
Yeah.
There's literally so many guys that you could throw in here, including if you want to consider Bobby Witt a shortstop.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like one is a toss-up between two guys, but after that, you can go any which way about it.
This is interesting because I wonder if I have the same guy as you guys.
For one?
I am also curious.
Yeah.
All right, kick us off.
I have Trey Turner at one.
Yeah, so do I.
I also have Trey at one.
Then I had Sigi Too Easy at two.
Yeah.
He's a guy who this is my projection going into 23, basically.
Right.
I don't think in the 2022 season he was not the second best shortstop in baseball. But I think this year, after a year of settling in Texas, him and Simeon could become just like an absolute problem. Offensively, and especially with the pitching staff behind him now, changes how they play, changes your approach in every at bat. You're going to get into more favorable situations, maybe not batting in such tight games. I think he could have a crazy year, and he could hit 35, 40 dongs, and maybe even be an MVP candidate. And number 3, I had Xander.
Okay, and I was going to say there's only one acceptable answer for 3.
Yeah.
All right. Cam, go ahead.
I had Trey 1, Bichette as 2, and Xander as 3.
Bichette's another one like Seager.
Yeah, I had those two flip-flopped. I had Bogey at 2, and I had Bichette at 3.
Bichette, I think, is a lot like Seager, where he kind of had a down year offensively. He had a good, September? He had a really good September, I think, right?
Yeah.
Bichette's
another guy also striking out a shit ton. Dude struck out 155 times.
Yeah, that's a lot. How many times did he walk?
41.
Not that many.
That's not a good ratio.
Not that many.
But still had 24 dongs and hit 290. Well,
I wonder how many of those dongs he had in September. I bet you if you looked at his stats from April to August, they're probably not very good. But his September stats were unreal. He probably hit almost 400. I think he had 7 or 8 home runs.
See if I can find it. I don't know if there's a way to kind of break this down, but I can just skip down to September and count real quick. So he had 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looks like 10 home runs in September.
Yeah.
Six of them came in 2 games.
Yep. Insane.
Oh wait, hold on.
September.
No, hold on. It was 7. I was counting an extra one, so he only had 7. But 7 homers, 27 RBIs, and hit 403 in September.
7 home runs a month is a 42 home run pace over the course of the season.
But even if we were to break it down month by month, right? So in April he had 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, right? Not good. May 5 for 16, better.
Yep.
June 5 for 17, about the same. July 2 for 14, not very good.
Yeah.
August 3 for 11. Then he went 7 for 27.
Jesus Christ!
Just you want to talk about just fucking juice in the stats?
I mean that's 150 RBI pace.
Yeah,
40 homers, 150 RBIs. That's insane. But he's had that same issue through his career with consistency. So
right.
But sometimes you don't care that much if a guy's not that consistent. If when he shows up, he has crazy numbers like that. So you kind of take the good with the bad and just deal with it for the most part.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a lot of options at shortstop.
Right.
And guess who's not on that top 3 list? Carlos Correa.
See you,
Tatis is, I think, probably officially listed as an outfielder now.
Yeah. Move on to left fielders.
Speaking of just a little jab in, Tatis was just cleared for baseball activities yesterday.
Saw that. Yeah.
Still suspended 20 games though.
Yeah,
20?
Cleared for activities. Yeah, it's something like that. But yeah, he.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd fuck that guy too, honestly.
I don't know, dude. When he plays, it's exciting.
It is.
Yeah,
It's just,
well,
it puts a
hate for him.
tamper on it now, but I don't know.
We'll see how he comes back.
Fuck it.
Joke.
He comes back and lights the world up. That'll all be forgotten, or
Yeah.
it'll be say, "Oh, he has steroids
Right,
still."
exactly. We got left
I'll
field.
kick off left fielders because my first one,
This one's pretty dry too. I didn't realize how dry
Yeah,
left
well,
fielders were.
the guy I put first could also be listed as a DH.
Jordan?
but I listed him as a left
I
fielder,
have
so
him
I
as
had Jordan
DH,
one.
yeah.
Dude, that dude, you want to talk about a dude being a fucking freak? That dude is a fucking freak.
MVP level
Yeah.
season. I think in
Like-
any other year where Judge doesn't have the year he does, you can
Right.
make an argue about him over Shohei. Honestly, that's how good he was.
I mean, dude, also he didn't play. He only played 135 games, so he missed, technically speaking, 27. He probably wouldn't have played all 27, but still at 37 dongs and only K'd 106 times. Like for a power hitter, only
Yeah.
striking out 106 times. That's
and he hit
elite.
almost 300, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
So-
the thing with Jordan too, like that man in the playoffs was a different breed, bro.
dude, that walk-off
He's
home run he had
scary.
against Seattle.
Oh my
fucking-
god!
Or the ball he hit against Jose Alvarado that went over the freaking batter's eye and Shohei. I'm literally in another planet right now. My brain is like soup. But Altuve standing on third base, just like, what the fuck? The ball literally was in orbit. I was like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
that
He
dude's
launched that
just
thing.
a fucking.
that was a
freak.
nuke. Yeah, he's legit.
These next two, Sam kind of prefaced it by saying this position was very dry. I put Stephen Kwan at 2,
I had him at 3.
and then 3 I had Benintendi.
Okay, so I had
Okay.
I had Kyle Schwarber at 1, just based on his offensive output. Finished second in the NL in home runs. So, the second in the NL or second in the MLB? Did anyone hit 40 home runs last year other than Judge?
I don't think so.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. That feels like forever ago.
Yeah.
Too cooped up in Judge's home run race.
Yeah. All the
Yeah.
juice baseballs Rob Manfred
Yeah.
was shipping off to New York.
Yeah, with the Crackham Jack Stadium.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't count. Put him at the Polo Grounds, make him hit him with the dead center. We'll see how he fares. So it's 7 home runs in a season. But yeah, so I had Schwarber.
Hey, if you can blow 7 out of dead center at the Polo Grounds, good for you.
That's like, it was like 490, I think.
Yeah.
480.
With the juice baseballs or without?
Without, he's got to hit 1960 style, just like brick baseballs. That's it. No
With
more,
the
no
bats
less.
they had back there.
Yeah, exactly. So I had Schwarber 1. I had Teoscar Hernandez at 2. And then Stephen Kwan at 3. I think Stephen Kwan is another guy, kind of an old school player. Reminds me of how Rod Carew used to play. Dude's not going to hit a lot of home runs, but he puts the bat on the ball at an unbelievably, like alarmingly high rate. He puts the ball in play. And it just shows that in today's game with how hard pitchers throw, it works. Because the dude had an amazing season. Another guy, if Julio Rodriguez isn't there, might win Rookie of the Year. So, and I think he's just going to keep on. He plays a very sustainable brand of baseball where it doesn't rely on any crazy runs or anything. He's very consistent. So, I think it's easy to put him top 3.
So I went a little out of the park with number 1. I have Yelich at 1. I know he's been injured and everything, but I see him kind of going back to
Rebound
2018, 2019 form.
Okay.
Dry position.
True.
What?
You said dry
I said
position.
it's a dry position.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen Kwan at 2, and then
Mhm.
Arosa Reina at 3.
Yeah. Randy was another one that I kind of looked at. I probably
Randy.
who's Randy?
Who's Randy?
Ooh, Randy.
On my list, I probably have him like 4, 5, 6 somewhere in there. But he's still up there because he's another guy. He's you could argue that Randy is a 5-tool player. He's kind of got a little bit all over the place. So,
And I feel like he's going to be good player, bad team, because I don't think the Rays.
Randy's also really good at eating popcorn in the dugout and requesting champagne to be prematurely sent to Tampa Bay.
That is true.
Randy's
Fuck
also
you.
good at beating the shit out of women. Just saying.
That's a true story.
You know, I tried to
Speaking
avoid
of
the white
beating
haters,
women,
but
Just kidding. I was going to bring up Trevor Bauer, but
ooh,
Fuck that guy too.
Yeah.
you mean future?
all I will say is the Dodgers release him. We'll touch on that at the end a little bit. I got a little hot take on that. So yeah, I think that covers left. Again, dry position. We ain't got to spend time on it. Center field, pretty loaded. Center field and right field have a lot of really good players.
I feel like our center fielders, all three, are going to be the same.
Yeah.
I feel like they have. My third one, maybe not.
I think
so
one
do you
and
guys,
two.
do you guys have Judge listed as right fielder or center fielder?
Right fielder.
I have him as a right fielder. It could be either.
Yeah.
Really, it could be either.
Yeah, I had him as a center.
Yeah, I have him in right field because they still have Harrison Bader going into this year.
Yeah.
So I put him in right. But so for center, I had Mike Trout at 1. Still the best baseball player on the planet. I don't care what you say. Julio Rodriguez 2.
Yeah.
And Byron Buxton 3. Byron Buxton is a guy, when he is healthy,
he's disgusting.
he might be the best player in baseball, but the problem is that he's so injury prone. Like, because he's shown glimpses.
Glass bones and paper skin.
Dude,
and he plays like his hair's on fire.
Yeah, but bro, when he's on and he's healthy, that ball that he hit off Liam Hendricks literally went into like the fucking 5th deck in Minnesota. It was a walk-off, and it was like 7 degrees outside. I'm like, this guy's out of his fucking mind. But the dude has absolute burners, makes insane plays in the outfield. He's probably one of my favorite players to watch. When he's healthy and playing well, he is so exciting to watch play the game.
Did you guys see him get hurt in Fenway last year?
But he just run into a wall or something?
He went sliding hard into second base and put his hand out, just bent his finger a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Gross.
Just snapped the
dude
finger,
just went,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. He almost he's the Jacob deGrom of position players.
Yeah.
Because he's such a freak specimen of, like, power and speed and arm strength and everything that, like, he's such a freak that his body can't sustain what he's capable of doing. So if he stays healthy, dude, another guy, he stays healthy, he could win an MVP, no problem. I could see him hitting 40, 45 home runs in a season. He's that good. He's that. I am shocked at this point in his career he doesn't have a 30-30 yet. 30
a full fucking season.
That's what I mean. But you think at some point he'd have a full season at this point. But if he stays healthy, I don't know how he doesn't hit 30 home runs and steal 30 bases. I just don't know how he doesn't.
He just got to stay healthy.
He would do it every single year if he was healthy. He would literally go 30-30. Yeah. He could pull a 40-40.
It'd be nice, especially this year.
It's like a Wendy's fall. All right, Cam, I'll let you go because you had Judge listed as a right fielder, so I'll let you go with your center fielders.
So I had Trout 1, Julio 2, and then I had Brian Reynolds as 3 for the Pirates.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
See, Cam, you're redeeming yourself a little bit now after that Yelich one.
All right.
But again, the Yelich one isn't that crazy. Dude won an MVP not that long ago.
I mean, all right, let's go back even further. We're still trying to let you redeem yourself from that Gary Sanchez comment.
That's fair. Can I redeem myself with that one now?
No.
Once we start making t-shirts, we have to have one that says El Gary Elite Defender. And I will wear that shirt every fucking pod.
We're just gonna crop a picture of Cam and Gary being like best friends, and we're just gonna put that right
we can make a little deep fake of like, let me tell you about my best. And it's just Gary and Cam running down the street, arm in arm. Oh God. Yeah, good old Gary. According to Cam, Gary Sanchez is actually the best center fielder in baseball. He's the best at every position in baseball because he's.
We just haven't seen it yet.
He does it all. He pitches the ball. He catches the ball.
He's like Bugs Bunny.
He fields the ball,
and he throws the ball.
He does everything,
and he throws it again,
absolutely,
and again. So center field again. I had Judge listed as a center fielder. I actually went Judge 1, just due to the fact that Trout can't stay on the
Doesn't
field.
matter. He does have to stay on the field, and he's still better.
It does matter.
Watch when Aaron Judge isn't hitting ping pong balls and golf balls, and he hits 29 home runs this year.
No, they're going to give him tennis balls this year. Don't worry about it.
Could you imagine he goes from a 60, however, what he hit, 62?
Bro, all I'm saying is Manfred's under a lot of heat because things have been coming out saying that they were shipping off like juice balls. What do you do? You say, oh, we're not doing it anymore.
You waterlog the balls.
Judge keeps hitting dongs.
Yeah, you waterlog them.
So, it's kind of...
Hey, good luck hitting this out, dick.
Well, like I was just saying, right? Kyle Schwarber finished second in the MLB with home runs. He didn't even need to hit 40.
Yeah.
And Judge hit 62. Come on.
Dude's just built different.
Anyways.
Again, playing in a Cracker Jack box of a stadium, too.
He likes to hit the balls in the right field, that's all.
Yeah,
that's right. 2, I had Trout, and then 3, I had Julio.
Okay. Yeah. So my hot take comes with right fielders that I was talking about, Chris. This is my my hot take, and it comes at number 1.
Oh boy.
Oh.
And it's not Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is not my number 1 right fielder.
Arson? Is it Arson?
No. It's actually
Alter ego.
Garrett Koch. Was that the second one that Heyman tweeted out? It was Arson Judge and Garrett Koch.
God.
Oh.
But no,
it was Brian McCann.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Brian McCann instead of
that was boob.
Yeah, that was a boob bomb. Brian McCann instead of James McCann. He's like, actually,
I'm gonna laugh at that every time I hear a boob bomb.
Well, Boob Newton Good goes. The Orioles appear to have signed 39-year-old catcher James McCann at a 4-year retirement. They're saying he'll catch 80 games this year. Like, smoking crack. Brian McCann probably weighs 350 pounds. Wears New Balance Monarchs and grilled hamburgers every day. Like that's what Brian McCann's doing. Oh God. Anyway, back to right fielders for my hot take. Number 1 for me is no other than Mookie Betts. He had a really good year.
That's mine too.
And I think overall, I just
can't get behind it.
Outside of power output. Because even Mookie still had, I think, 32 home runs? 31?
30 even.
30. So, and he is unbelievable defensively. He is so good defensively.
I'm with
in
it.
In the words, yeah.
He just got JD back.
It's true. He got the mad professor on his side. But I don't know, just the way Mookie carries himself, with how consistent he is year in and year out. The impact that he has on his team, top to bottom, the stat that has always glared to me about Aaron Judge when I didn't put him number 1 is that through that entire season last year, the 2022 season, the hottest streaks that he went on, the Yankees actually played worse. So, the hottest stretches that he had, the Yankees were losing more games, and when he was struggling, they were winning more games.
Well, they were relying on him. They're trying to rely on him too much.
Well, but think about it. It's the opposite because they were winning more games when he was playing poorly and losing when he was playing better. And to me, that's why I couldn't put him 1 in because Mookie is just such a complete player and a guy that very clearly makes the guys around him much better. He's a guy where since 2018, no matter how much you want to agree or disagree with it, I'd put him in the top 3 best players in baseball every single year. No matter how quiet he is, no matter how average his year is, like numbers wise, he's just that good.
I just like to see him come alive in the postseason a little bit.
Yeah,
change that narrative around.
I feel like you'd like to see that out of everybody on the Dodgers, though, not just Mookie.
True.
Well, and you could say the same thing to Judge. Dude hit 120 in the postseason. So
yeah, he disappeared.
So
he went bye-bye.
Mookie 1, Judge 2, and then I have Juan Soto at 3. Which Juan Soto was one where I was kind of
went a completely different direction with this whole group.
I have the same thing as Sam. So go ahead.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really, really hot take with my number 1 right fielder. Any guesses?
Michael Conforto.
Wow. No. And number 1 right fielder, I had Kyle Tucker.
I almost put him at 3 over Soto. He's number 4 for me for sure.
I think this dude is just an absolute fucking beast of a baseball player. 32 dongs, 103 RBIs. I think just as a complete baseball player, I put him ahead of Mookie. I really do. I think Mookie is elite, but I think he's going this way instead of this way, which is where I think Kyle Tucker's going. So 2, again, basing it off of healthy players playing when they're fully healthy, I had Ronald Acuna.
Yeah.
I put Acuna at 2. Dude hit 24 home runs and had 28 stolen bases and missed a shit ton of time last year. Just fucking insane. And then 3, I had Mookie.
Okay. Yeah, no, those are. I don't think any of those are egregious. Again,
No.
it's It's looking at guys' past work and seeing if they can replicate it in this year going forward. And Acuna is one of those guys where if he can get back to his former self, that's an MVP caliber player. And again, just like Byron Buxton, he's a 30-30 guarantee almost every year.
Dude was almost a 30-30 and missed fucking half
That's
the
what
season.
I'm saying. He produces. He's an exciting player. He's so exciting to watch play the game. He's just electric factory, top to bottom. He's super fun. He's a guy. So where I had Mookie Judge Soto, I had Kyle Tucker at 4 for sure, and then Acuna was right after that.
Yeah.
Right field is a position. Center and right field got some absolute studs.
Yeah. Yep.
So Chris, I was gonna compare Kyle Tucker at 25 to Mookie at 25. Totally forgot Mookie's age 25 season was his MVP season, so not gonna compare those.
So we're just not gonna do that.
Was
No, we're
this
just not
past
gonna do that.
This past season was Kyle Tucker's age 25?
Yes, it was.
I didn't realize he was that young. Holy shit.
Stallion.
Bro, him and Jordan, because Jordan's what, 26? 25? He might be 25 too.
Bam.
He's
Is
young. I mean, he's Cuban, so he's probably like 33. But he's listed as 25.
He's 25, yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's scary,
Yeah,
dude.
that's what I'm saying. And he's been legit in the league since 2020, 2019.
I have
So
it.
he's
2019, yeah.
He's an issue. He's an issue.
Yeah.
He'll win it multiple MVPs by the time he retires.
And he came in, I don't know if we decided this, but he did come in third in MVP last year.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I knew that.
Okay.
And was it J-Ram 4? Do we know?
I can look it up right now.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we can jump into DHs.
Yeah.
To me, you said Jordan as a DH. I was going to say there's only one answer.
I had Jordan as a left fielder.
Oh, as a left fielder. Okay, never mind then. I was going to say, so for DHs, to me, there's one answer and one answer only for number one. It is Shohei
Is he also a pitcher?
Ohtani-san.
Yeah, okay.
It is Ohtani-san. And you could argue that he's top 3 pitcher also.
Yeah.
I had him like 4 or 5 probably.
I just didn't want to say Ohtani twice. That's the only reason why I think.
Well, I also feel like my thing with Ohtani, he doesn't eat innings quite like a lot of the other guys do because he usually gets one additional rest day from the looks of it. He usually doesn't get quite as many starts as other guys, which makes sense because dude's playing every day, and then on the 6th day you want him to go out and twirl for 6 innings. So I have him 1, Jordan 2, and then planning that he comes back when he's supposed to, I have Harper 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you thinking Harper comes back and just DHs, doesn't play the field anymore?
Well, I mean, yeah, you got actually, that's interesting now because they just got rid of Matt Vierling. And that's one of your outfielders. So, but I still think you probably keep Schwarber in left, you keep Marshy in center, and then, I mean, Harper could eventually play right. I don't remember who else they had playing right in the postseason.
Did he move on?
Castellanos, yes. No, he's still with them, I believe. No, he might be a free agent actually.
Deep drive to left field like
that's a
Castellanos.
deep
Yeah, too bad
drive to left.
Riverside scrapped my soundboard, or else I'd play that right now.
Lame.
Yeah, let me look at his contract real quick.
Yeah, well, so while you're looking at that,
He signed
I
up
had
5 years, $100 million in 2022.
with Philly.
Yeah,
Okay, so he's there.
they've got him for another 4 years.
Yeah.
So for my DHs, 1 is Shohei, obviously.
Yeah.
2, I had Bryce Harper, and then 3, coming off a really bad year, I still had to put JD at 3.
Don't hate it.
Yeah.
So I know it's a rough year, 16 home runs, only hit 274. I honestly, I think JD just wanted to get the fuck out of Boston. I think he was just
done.
so fed up with what was going on over there. I think he just wanted out.
Well, he's the type of guy too. We've seen in Boston how he handles himself and how he goes about the game. A guy like him is only going to struggle for so long.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's going to be in a better winning culture, a team that's committed to winning now. I think that's going to change a lot. And also you don't have a ton of like elite designated hitters anymore.
Right.
So
There's no Ortizes anymore.
Right. I mean, the closest thing I think is Jordan, but again, he's still playing half the season in left field. So he's JD's not a bad shout because we as Red Sox fans just know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem to have any physical like decline last year. He still could swing it. He still hit the ball hard. Yeah, it just seemed he set a down year, and that happens. Yeah. So I totally see him going to LA and tearing it up.
Yeah, so. And that's kind of I had Ohtani, Alvarez, and JD. Just
So. Yeah, So I had Harper in the 3 instead, but
yeah, exactly,
respectable still. And again, Harper's not starting the season, so
right.
He probably isn't going to be ready till at least mid-May, early June. So, what was the? Oh, we're going to touch on Trevor Bauer.
Woohoo! Scumbag of the MLB.
So the Dodgers have officially released him. I personally don't think that they should have released him. I think for what they were paying him and what they're going to eat, it's kind of tough. But I think down the line, if they get a pitcher that gets hurt, they have some deficiencies at the starting pitcher position, they could really kick themselves for letting him go. I think personally, he probably won't play. I bet he'll play in the MLB in 24. I think he's probably going to go play overseas, I would imagine, or in like Mexico, or maybe the Dominican League or something, or maybe Cuba even. I think he's going to play somewhere internationally, just dice, and then some team's just going to be like, he's too good to not sign, and they're just going to deal with the PR nightmare.
Wouldn't surprise. They haven't done anything to not surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me with the Red Sox. You hear a rumor. They're looking at Trevor Bauer now.
Well, the thing is, if you sign him now, you sign him at league minimum because he's already being paid by the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's exactly why time spent saving money blooms.
Well, I guess I was reading that a bunch of players don't want him. One, because of all the allegations, and two, because of his whole YouTube thing. They're like, when he's playing for the Dodgers, he's in the locker room with the camera, vlogging and shit. Like, that's got to be fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It's basically a surveillance camera, too. Then you got to watch everything you're saying. Like, you can't really just shoot the shit and relax or whatever. Like,
you never know what his camera's going to... I forgot about the camera thing. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess... Did you see, like, he came out and said, like, no, I just talked to the Dodgers. Like, they said they want to bring me back and everything like that?
Well, he said, like, his representatives and Dodgers representatives met with each other and arbitrators to try to figure out a deal.
Yeah.
And then it just which was weird because there's no real deal to be made. It was just like, was it them just being like his parents being like, we promise he'll be good, keep him. Like, that's what it felt like. It was like it's a discretion, it's a moral move at this point. It has nothing to do with anything outside of moral.
He's gotten his spankings. Leave him alone.
Morality driven. It's kind of a weird thing though, because I don't know if you saw in the Dodgers statement that so they had said, like, what the hell was it? It was basically like after due process and investigations, the league found what they found, they suspended him, then they mitigated the suspension. Essentially, they basically said they mitigated the suspension due to lack of evidence. And then right after, we're like, oh, well, due process came through and found that he was guilty of these things. So we don't want to continue on with this player. It's like, how does that, like, it just doesn't add up. And especially when you look at guys like, the craziest one to me was Aroldis Chapman with the Yankees.
Yeah.
So he was with was it with the Cubs at the time when he got the suspension? I think, right?
So.
Yeah, he was playing with the Cubs, got the suspension. He was suspended for literally shooting a gun in his home, like shooting just blanking rounds off at the roof to intimidate his wife. And the Yankees traded for him within days of the suspension being laid down, and basically just took on his contract and like, all right, he'll just play when the suspension's over. It's like, so where do you draw the line that Aroldis Chapman didn't get blackballed by anybody?
No.
And now, right now,
that's the thing. Every team's going to be different.
Well, and like now, Aroldis Chapman is talking to teams still.
Yeah.
He's left the Yankees and teams are talking to him. So, like, to me, that says for Trevor Bauer is that it's going to come to a point where he's just going to be too good for a team not to sign him, and the time's just going to heal, and everybody's going to forget about it.
Why I feel like he's not going to go he's going to be on a team this year.
I also feel like somebody's going to pick him up this year, especially his suspension's done.
Yeah.
Like, it's over with.
Yeah.
Like, it's the league did what they did, served a suspension, time's up.
Yeah.
I feel like it's got to be a team that does not have to worry about PR at all because they're already a dumpster.
Even that, dude. Are you gonna pass up on a potential Cy Young candidate because of things that he did in his past and served his time?
I think so. I think a lot of it's going to come down to the owners, and I guess a lot of owners are polling locker rooms to see what the guys think, and most players don't want him on the team.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Because it can be a locker room nuisance if you already are bringing in a guy that you know that the other players don't want.
But and to that same degree, no matter where he goes, there's going to be people who don't like him. There are going to be teammates. There's going to be fans, and that's exactly it. If he goes out there and he's shoving every game he starts, as time goes on, people are just going to forget about it.
Yep, it's a double-edged sword. There's one side of it that says, well, he's a damn good pitcher. He won a Cy Young in 2020. He's elite, but do you want to deal with the PR shitstorm? And you could also say the PR shitstorm only lasts as long as he's not good.
Yeah.
Right.
Because once he's good, they're not going to give a fuck.
Yeah. It's a tough situation. You got to hope the guy's good still. I mean, he's only, what is he?
He's been working his ass off ever since, even during the suspension. I've seen a lot of shit that he's been doing.
Yeah. Working out with Eric Tim, JUCO Bandit.
Exactly. Like, realistically, this dude's probably in the best shape of his life right now.
He's probably a better pitcher than he was when he last pitched. Because he's a nerd, too. The dude has all the hit track stuff and the ball tracking and stuff. Like, he's an absolute nerd. And I think just letting him go to his laboratory for a year or whatever, like, could be an issue when he decides to actually pitch in the MLB. Could be a problem. Yeah. But it's a moral thing at this point. I'd be curious. It'll be an interesting development. Again, I think the most likely thing to happen, I wouldn't be surprised if you see, like, to me, the team that is glaringly obvious if you sign with would be the Reds. Just go back to the Reds.
Yeah, go back to Cincy.
And then the team's already a PR nightmare. They play in a freaking garbage disposal. So, like,
Cincy.
Yeah, go to Cincy, play, no scrutiny, basically. You're just playing. And then all of a sudden he plays good, you trade him, and you get value back. You trade him for a team that's trying to make a push for the playoffs. Like, I think that's the most likely thing, either that or he's just going to play somewhere else this year, shove, and then come back next year. But it'll be interesting.
Just while we wrap this shit up, Cam, if you bring that damn coin to the podcast next week, I'm going to kill you.
Sorry. Drop it.
Hey, you were rustling stuff earlier, Chris. I heard it.
I muted.
You didn't. I heard it.
Well, I was rustling and then I muted.
I dropped it once. That's my bad.
That was twice.
Jared, comment down below how many times Chris yawned. I don't know. I didn't see any, but we want to.
I had probably two.
Wrap it up with our daily trivia, Cam.
Yeah. Do you want to do one from the past week or just one from today?
Let's do two.
Weekends?
Let's do two.
Doesn't matter.
So the one from this weekend. What?
Is this another one where there's like 6 possible answers?
No, there's one. I'll avoid those.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Name the last Cincinnati Red to win consecutive MVP awards. Johnny Bench, Barry Larkin, Joey Votto, or Joe Morgan?
I was before I even heard any of the names, I was going to say Joe Morgan.
I was going to say Barry Larkin.
It was Joe Morgan.
I didn't think it was that long ago. No shit. I think Barry Larkin won 2 MVPs. Maybe they just weren't back to back.
I wish I had shouted out what I was thinking before he even went off the answer.
Would have been like really cool.
God, I was thinking Joe Morgan before he even said anything.
That's a good point because that was like Big Red Machine days when they were just juggernauts.
Built different.
67 Red Sox.
Are we doing one more before we wrap up?
Yeah. Do one more. This one's. Which of the following?
Well, do you have one more after this one? Like, is there another card you can use?
What do you mean?
Like, is there another card that you could pull? Because I'm curious. Like, if we were to do if I put a poll on Twitter, how many?
I have a million of them. I have all last
maybe
week's.
Tomorrow morning we can post another one on Twitter.
I can even post if you want me to. I can post tomorrow too.
All right.
I'll take a picture of it. Yeah. But anyways, so which of the following active pitchers are ranked top 10 all time in strikeouts per 9 inning?
Is this a multiple answer or just one?
Wait till I read all of them. It's pretty simple. Yu Darvish, Chris Sale, Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom, Strasburg, Cole, Robbie Way.
Robbie Way! Is that Mike Tyson's interpretation? Oh, man,
Robbie Way.
It's Robbie Way!
Or all of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all of them.
Yeah.
I believe Robbie Ray, doesn't he hold the record for, like, isn't it most strikeouts through first 500 innings pitches, like, through a career?
He also holds the record for tightest pants while pitching.
He also holds
That
the
is
record
true.
for longest nuke allowed to Yordan Alvarez. Walk-off
Well,
nuke, sorry, because Jose
yeah.
Alvarado holds the actual record. But yeah, no, that one was, I knew all that one. The craziest one, I remember seeing that list and being blown away that Yu Darvish was on that list.
Yeah.
But then you think about, dude's been legit for a long time. Between the Rangers, Cubs, and now the Padres. Pretty good.
Have you seen his son?
He's
His
a
son's
stud.
Wild.
Yeah, he's a stud. He has like a bajillion subscribers on YouTube. He's got like a pretty legit YouTube going.
Cam, if you want to send me a picture of the screenshot, then I'll post that. I'll post the trivia poll with the Twitter link tomorrow.
All right, I'll send it to you. This one's a good one.
Cool.
All right. In that case, I don't know if you guys got anything else to say, but
No,
Long one, but
Yeah.
a good one. Hope they listen through.
Yeah.
longy but a goodie.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's a good preview just to look at the positions. I think next week we want to talk Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
yeah, we can see what happens throughout the week, but we can plan on touching on the Hall of Fame
Okay.
stuff.
All right, cool. Sounds good to me.
Just a reminder, winter weekend meetings for the Red Sox
2
thing coming up
weeks.
less than 2 weeks.
Yep, we're gonna be.
We are less than 2 weeks away from
Which
that.
I think for that week, instead of a pod, we're probably just going to post a vlog instead, just as our coverage for the week. But yeah, I got that coming up. Getting ramped up for WBC. The other thing I wanted to say, looking at analytics on YouTube, a lot of people that are watching still aren't subscribed. So,
Come on.
how you doing, dog? It's my quarterback. But yeah, if you guys don't mind just dropping the subscribe, like, all that stuff, continued support. Like we always say, we owe it to you guys, everybody that tunes in and watches and comments and stuff. It makes it fun for us. So we appreciate you tuning in, watching our stuff, and supporting us. I think that's all we got.
One
you
more
got?
thing. 5 more weeks until pitches and catches report.
Oh, yeah, baby. Is it on my birthday? The day before my birthday?
Day after.
Day after, the 15th.
Yeah.
All right.
We're right around the
I
corner.
can smell it.
5 more
Hot
pods.
dogs and popcorn.
5 more
I smell
pods.
Fenway Franks.
And then we're going to be having watch parties.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And doing all kinds
Oh,
of
I
shit.
can't
Maybe
wait
a
to
little,
electric
maybe a little
baseball
6 a.m. KBO watch parties.
Don't tempt me.
I'm down.
Don't tempt me because I'll do it.
I'll wake up.
Don't tempt me because I'll do it. Before work,
Yep.
I'm in.
All right,
Wake
let's
up,
do
yeah.
it. All right, hell yeah. All right. We gone.
Later.